We are live. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us today to celebrate the professor's memory and to share. And thank you. You came to share with us the lessons you have learned from him, the memories you have together, and I hope everybody will enjoy this evening and will take the gifts, let's say, from the professor in his path. So welcome.
Дуже добре. Я теж хотіла привітати.
Very good. I also wanted to welcome everyone, especially because our today's evening is so special. It's very true to the soul, but it's also very honorable. And it is dedicated truly to such an important event that has united all of us together, to the person that has united all of us. And even if this person is no more with us these days, the spirit of this person is present with us, and the energy of this person is alive, and it is creating this space that we can feel today, and we can feel it with warmth of memories and pleasurable moments, and truly not only about the past, but also about the present that is uniting all of us and inspiring us in order to continue doing the work that was started by Professor Peseschkian, for us to be able to continue his work in the future. Thus, together with Diana, we have thought about how specifically to conduct this honorable event, and we didn't see any other choice in order to meet all together and invite those people who were within the closest circle of Professor Peseschkian and those ones who are capable of sharing. The achievement of that beautiful work that should be transmitted further to the further generations. So allow us to present you our today's active speakers. This is truly the closest to all of us. Hamid Peseschkian. It's Gabriela Hum. It's Enver Cesko. It's Christian Henrichs. And of course, Volodymyr Karikash. Thus, first of all, I would like to give the floor directly to you, Hamid. So that we would be able to open this event. And so that we have a chance to go deeper in those memories.
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, dear friends, first of all, I think it's a wonderful, I think like a tradition that we do something like that. And I think it's a wonderful tradition which comes really from Eastern Europe and other collectivistic countries, so that once you are dead, it's not finished, but that you not only remember this person, but also try to see what can we learn from that person for our own lives. So I think, and really, thank you very much to Yekaterina and to Diana for organizing that. As you know, tonight will be, it's like tonight, 13 years ago, my father passed away. Yeah, it was the 27th of April, early morning. So therefore this day fits very much into that. Of course, I was thinking what might be maybe very important also to share. And if I summarize up everything maybe he has done and what we can learn, I came to the English word of, you call it philanthropist, philanthropist, but not in the financial way, but in the human way. The German word is Menschenfreund. So really, I think what symbolizes him was really that to see every human being as a friend, every human being as a fellow human being, and without any prejudice to establish relationship with that person. Those of you who met him know what I mean, that really, is it the taxi driver? Is it the professor? Is it the lady which is cleaning? It is not important. Every human being, you meet him and then you just contact the person and you try to establish a relationship. Of course, this was very deep rooted also in his religious belief, which was inspired by the Baha'i concept that not only every human being is good by nature, but that we are all, like in all religions, we are the children of one God, so to say, and not to make a difference between the people. But I think this was something, because you know the method positive psychotherapy reflects, of course, to 100% the personality of Nossrat Peseschkian. Like each method reflects the personality of the founder. Yeah. So therefore, we see this humanistic approach, this positive approach, so that really every human being, is it a patient, a client, the cleaning lady, you just go without prejudice. In all these years, and I think that's something we can learn about that, I've never heard my father speaking negatively about a person, you see, and especially not about the culture of that person. You know, let's say, oh, people from this country, they are like that. From people, oh, they are like this. I never heard that or any complaint about that. You know, I don't know, Germany is like that, Iran is like that, America is like that, never. And I think that's something we can learn. It's not so easy. You know, it's very easy to make a Facebook post and make some hearts on that and this and that, but to apply this to your own life and try to be without prejudices, to meet everybody. And it's not the first question, which is your passport, which country are you coming from? But the first thing is, you are a human being, I'm a human being. So let's establish a contact. I think this is something, it's not easy to learn that, yeah? But I think this is something which we can really, I think, try to really try to put it into practice in our own life. So this was the first thing I want to share. It's really being like a friend of you other people. So it's like, I think the translation is philanthropist, but in the human way, in the emotion, not only in the financial way then, and so then, yeah. And Yekaterina, should I speak more? Or maybe, I don't know.
May I say something regarding
Yes, please.
what you said, Hamid, that he was talking with everybody and everybody was a human being for him. In 2019, we had a conference of positive psychotherapy in Bucharest. And Nossrat and Manija Peseschkian, they were our speakers and our beloved guests. And together with the organizing committee, we were at the airport waiting for them. We heard that the plane was on the airport, but nobody from Germany get out from that area of the airport where, you know, the travelers are. And we stayed there half an hour, 45 minutes. It was a TV show scheduled after 2 hours, and we were already in late. And in the end, after 1 hour, the doors open, and we tried to look inside to see what the hell is happened there. And Nossrat and Manija were in the middle of 100 people, more than 100 people. Nossrat was telling a story. There was the crew, the pilots, and all the people from the plane around him, making photo with him and listen to him. So this was Nossrat.
Gathering
Starting
people.
to talk with everybody who was around you. Doesn't matter who were those people.
If it is allowed, I
Please.
want to continue with this. When Hamid mentioned about that for Nossrat, nothing was negatively. And my first meeting with him, it was in Vienna in 1999. At that time, it was the Second World Congress on Psychotherapy. And it is the year when just was finished the war in Kosovo. And I had a chance to go there and to present some of workshops. At that time, I was a body psychotherapist. I didn't heard nothing about the positive psychotherapy. And I went there, and usually in the big events like the congresses there are, mostly some of the people and the founders are putting some books and some leaflets on the desks, okay, in the corridors. And I was walking and I saw a man, a gentleman, that I never met him. And I saw some books which was written, Positive Psychotherapy. And when I saw these books, I was staying in front of that desk, looking the books, and I said to myself, oh my God, till this my experiences, I was in the wrong way, in the negative psychotherapy. And I found something which is the positive psychotherapy. And then Nossrat Peseschkian was only looking at me and waiting if I will ask something. I was a little bit ashamed, you know, to ask. Probably by the nature, I'm a little bit a shame person, those who knows me. And then I had a courage to ask a book, and I said, what does it mean, this positive psychotherapy? He said, everything in the world has to be seen positively. And I said, oh my God, this is that for all this, my 15 years in my education, I was in the wrong way. He said, no, you are not on the wrong way, because it's not existing negative, but it's much more capacity to see from these negative ways, to see something what can be the positive. And this was my first meeting with Nossrat Peseschkian. And later on, we discussed, I introduced myself, And he invites me next year, 2000. It was the second Congress in Wiesbaden. And this was from 2000, my new path that I am still, from that period, from 2000, in the positive psychotherapy. This is my introduction about how was my path going to the positive psychotherapy. Maybe later we can go in other areas.
One thing, dear friends, I would like to add is that, пожалуйста, Vladimir, пожалуйста. Vladimir, please.
Тоже, если начали как-то говорить о воспоминаниях.
If you have already started to talk about the remembrances, I have a lot of associations because Mr. Cesko, I have known Mr. Peseschkian before you.
Yes.
It was in 1991 when I saw an article about positive psychotherapy. I read this article. It was in the biggest journal in the Soviet Union. And after reading it, accidentally, I met Hamid Peseschkian. And then when I came to St. Petersburg to the conference, and Hamid Peseschkian, he introduced me to his father. And his father, Nossrat Peseschkian, he met me like I was his friend. So he just started to introduce me to other people as if I were his friend or his relative. And what I remembered from this time that he was very simple. So this was total simplicity and opinion on humanity like one big family. And it was not only an opinion, maybe it was just approach in his own family. And when there was a World Congress in Russia, it was, very gentle, very right organization. There were a lot of very high-leveled people, high-leveled guests. And when he took floor, when he spoke, it was so light, it was so wonderful and friendly. And his grandchildren also just like ran across him, and it was total simplicity. It was, it was something wonderful, incredible. It was like a spirit of big family. And also, maybe later I will show you one of the photos that I have. And when you stand for the photo, you want you take some posture. And Nossrat Peseschkian he leaned a bit to become not so high. And it was also seen that he didn't want to be superior. He wanted to be on a par with everybody. It was a unity, it was simplicity. It was combination of energy, and we felt like we all were a big family. This is my remembrance from our meeting in 1997.
I will take the advantage of that you started this conversation, and I would like to invite also Arno and Pavel to share with us how it was for you, the first meeting with the professor, how you guys met. Who would like to start?
I can try. Hi guys. Actually, it was my first visit of Germany, and actually it was the first time I was abroad at all. It was 2001, as I remember, and it was a small actually seminar training for trainers, and it was, I don't know, around 30-35 people. At least I remember this amount of people, and really it was absolutely the same like Vladimir, you told. It was something like he knows, it was impression like he knew you for years before. And I was introduced, I don't remember who said, oh, this, well, he's from Russia, from Far East of Russia. And really, he he started to talk to me as an old friend. It was so surprising for me, and I was surprised that he is so, I don't know, warm and open to me, and he told something about his and his family, and I was surprised because I knew that he's a founder of a method, and I don't know, a new method, and I fell in love with this method by that moment, and it was so unique for me, this experience, that I remember one moment. I don't know, subconsciously, I guess, I decided that I was so good that he loved me so much at the moment. But then, for me, it was so amazing that in several minutes, I found out that he has this warm and open attitude to all the people around, to all the people in the room, and it was so surprising. How come? How can he, I don't know, feel? I don't know. Really, it is about his nature. It was something unique for me in that moment. So yes, I wouldn't say that he was like a father for me, but like a grandfather, a very warm and, I don't know, gentle and caring. And all the time he tried to catch me to my skin on my belly and say, Manish, look, he's so skinny. He was so surprising with my weight. So I remember that was so touching, really. So it was my first experience of meeting Nossrat Peseschkian. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you like, I can share a bit. It's exactly 40 years now this year that I met Nossrat Peseschkian the first time in a one-week seminar in Bad Nauheim, where I came to as a medical doctor to learn more about psychosomatics. Coming out of that week, I learned more about that we as human beings have capacities, that we need a balance in that balance model to be healthy. And Nossrat Peseschkian did not give a scientific explanation first. He first opened our eyes for ourselves and to experience ourselves, to find out our own capacities before becoming therapists for others, before being medical doctors for others. So this was so interesting that Nossrat Peseschkian always had in mind not only the client and the problem of the client, no, not at all, but the capacities of the guests, the capacities of these people coming to us, and as well as this, also our own capacities as therapists, and that we have to develop our own balance, our own capacities. This was the main impression at that time, 40 years ago. And I had been quite an intensive student for many years and worked with him and traveled with him quite a lot from the end of the 80s on. And it was then something very special that I experienced it exactly like you, Hamid, and the others mentioned it. He was with a taxi driver as well as with all other people the same, and so all of us as human beings that you can learn from. What is so impressive for me is that he could always be curious and open for something new. He was so creative, and he influenced people around him to become creative. And so he saw in all other people a lot of capacities. And in this way, for instance, he trained us as trainers by, when he had a seminar and we traveled with him, and his students had been with him, at some moment he said, Dr. Remmers will tell you about this or that. And for me, it was a new subject. I didn't know much about it. It was so difficult in this moment, but it was not difficult finally because he trusted in me and the others. And he had the feeling of, yes, this person knows something. He took his patients to the seminars, and the patients talked to the doctors and the psychotherapists about their experience. So that was another point of view that was to see in him in comparison to many other colleagues. That was a big surprise, and I think he was a pioneer until today that had not been understood in Germany in the 70s and 80s, as he was such a transcultural person, he was not understood in his message that we have to see not only the symptoms, but the capacities, the health care, and not only the pathology. And his method is a very creative one. And so he gave us these creative qualities.
Thank you, Arno.
Arno, I remember, you know, when we were students, usually we used to stay in the back of the class, not to answer the questions of the professor. But with Nossrat, you had no chance to escape, because he came in the end of the class or in the middle of the class, and he just picked you up and invite you in front of everybody and push you to talk and to answer questions. Yeah, that's another nice memory with him.
Yeah. And also I'm remembering one typical situation that mentioned by Arno and Gabi, also you mentioned. You know, I was invited him to come to Kosovo together with Manija and to do one of the modules in a basic course, and I think around more than 70 participants. It was the time when in Kosovo was established the Department for Psychology, and almost all the students came in that big amphitheater. And when he was speaking, he saw in one corner that some of the students are talking with each other, okay? And he saw something that we didn't see, okay? And then by explaining some stories in the content of the module, I saw that how he was close to go to that corner that the students are talking with each other, okay? And suddenly he said, "What do you think about this story?" And the students was very, very unpleased in that situation. And they said, "But I don't know about that." And, you know, always he was trying to use this sentence. He was saying, "Bravo." And this bravo, it was this, the letter O, it was like pronunciation, like a echo, bravo. And he said, because the student didn't talking the English language, and he said to me, I was translating at that time, and the student was saying, "But I didn't say anything." And he said, "Bravo." I said, "Yes, of course, it's bravo, because this is capacity how to say also bravo, you know." So this was a very creativity, and I learned this, that since that time, I was educated, you know, in a very patriarchal way, that if you don't know something, you have to be punished. So for him, was not existing the punishment. Always, even that is something wrong, he was trying to say bravo, to encourage. And probably because of that, this third stage, which we are using, encouragement, we need to encourage the people, okay? Not to try to see what is something damaging, what is pathology, but always the salatogenetic view of the man.
Thank you. Christian, I don't see you here on the screen. I know you are here, so please.
Yes.
Would you like to share with us also how was your first meeting with the professor?
Actually, I would like to refer to what Gabi said with this pushing into the unknown. He loved surprise. He loved the fantasy. He said that the fantasy is the capacity to deal with the unknown, and he wanted to push us to develop that in any situation. So very often in these seminars, he would ask also, what is the story for this? So to train the fantasy. I remember one time there was a congress in Latvia, And the evening before the opening, he came to me and he said, Mr. Henrichs, I have a little problem with my computer, so it would be very kind of you if I could use your presentation. I'm sure you have one presentation about positive psychotherapy. I said, okay, yeah, why not? So, and then he said, okay, then start it, please, when there was the opening of the Congress. And he said hello to the audience. And there was like, I think it was a half an hour or 1 hour talk, something. And then he said, and now Mr. Henrichs will take over. And I had to give the opening talk without any preparation. And he would just push me. And he did that with everybody. It was just really amazing how he believed in the substance of a situation.
I was in the same situation, Christian, in St. Petersburg.
It's great, yeah. You know, like you were full of adrenaline, but somehow it worked, yeah. And but he was also, it was not in a careless way that he said like, wow, be tough or something. He was very gently accompanying people. He would also ask them in seminars to take them out, but he would stand by the person, touching the arm and really kind of accompanying also in the very moment as much as they needed. So he would not say like jump and then go. He would be really there. I think this capacity to be really there socially, for me, that was just like a miracle. Like many people said, you know, like when he was in the airport to talk with people, when he was in the shop to talk with the shop owner, to say like, and also really find words of encouragement. I remembered when Ekaterina contacted me, also, of course, many situations, but one personal one, which I had quite early with him. I had lived before in England, and I remember at some point in England, I had a problem with my studies. You know, somehow it didn't work so well. So I went to a professor and asked him to have some assistance like this. But somehow it was after office hours. And I remember this person reacted really harsh. He said, you know, really, it's after office hours, how you come now and like this. And I felt much shame. And I said to myself, how could I have done that and like this? And then I had started my training with Nossrat and with the self-discovery. And of course, I think a good self-discovery, it sets things in motion also, you know, and it was a Sunday. I had just moved to another city. My flat was empty. Actually, I had also a bit love problems at the time. And so I felt really miserable. And suddenly I got the first panic attack in my life. And I just didn't know what to do with myself, as people might know who had a similar feeling at some point. And I don't know how I dared to do so, but I called him then, being very ready that he would say like, well, this is very inappropriate. But he reacted so nicely. No, bravo that you called, really, and take a deep breath now, and like this. So he accompanied me through the situation on a Sunday. And this inviting attitude, also in the therapeutic role, this has been always a model, I think, for everybody who worked with him. I remember also, you know, he said, when somebody is in a hole, give him a hand, but don't jump after him. So this readiness to give the hand, it was really very, very good and helpful all the time.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I think we have also Tuba.
Okay. Hello, very nice.
Hello.
To listen. Hello, everyone. It's really very nice to listen to all of these. But I would like to add, for instance, what I remember from Professor Peseschkian. He liked to say applauses. very frequently, applauses during the seminars. And it was really very nice to encourage all of us. And I think another thing, he was always telling little by little, okay? Little by little, step by step. These words he was using a lot. And with my experience, I met him very young, actually, when I was 28 years old. He was invited by our professor to Turkey, and our professor asked us during the class who would like to attend this training. And I remember that day, that moment, I immediately did like this, and I was the first person to be accepted to the training. And our professor asked me if you would like to do the translation of Professor Peseschkian, and I said I would be very happy. That's why it was a very good experience for me, because from the first moment to the end, I was his translator. That's why during the breakfast, during the dinner time, during the lunch time, he was really so encouraging. He was so friendly. And this, I remember when I cannot find the right word, he was going like this, okay, no problem. We are here. We can wait. And I was trying to find the right words to translate his words. That's why it was for me, I think 20 years ago, the first time I invited him and Manija Peseschkian to our university to give a seminar. And I remember two things from that day. One is I go to the hotel and bring them from the hotel by our university's car. And in the car, Manija told me that I was sitting in the back of the car, in the middle of them. One side Manija, the other side Nossrat Peseschkian. Manija told me that, Tuba, you know, you have a very soft heart and you are very young. In time, you will see that life is difficult, but please keep your soft heart. And please remember this moment. Don't let the difficulties of life to make your heart thin, solid. Please keep your soft heart. I think these are so valuable for me, so valuable moments for me, because they, both of them, both Manija Peseschkian, Professor Peseschkian, see the best in people, what is the best, and encourage them to keep it. Before I finish, I can add my unforgettable time in Wiesbaden with them for 7 days, because once I was going from Ankara to London and our plane had to stop in Frankfurt, and I was a guest for them for 7 days. So it was just before Professor Peseschkian passed away. I turned to Ankara on Sunday, and on Monday evening, I heard that he passed away. And that 1 week was also very valuable for me, because I stayed at their house. While staying at their house, I observed their couple relationship. In the early morning, they get up. I was in the downstairs, and I start to hear them like were singing, talking. Very good time for me, really. And I think they were really very good model for me for couple relationship as well. I think these are the best moments for me, and I feel that we started a new master course in Turkey now, and in the first module, I talked a lot about Nossrat Peseschkian, and I once again remember that how lucky we are to have him in our memories. Thank you. This is real heritage.
Thank you.
Мгм. Так. І я дуже дякую, дуже таке приємне.
I would also like to thank you. It is an incredible atmosphere that's being created through all of those memories that you're sharing. And I also would like to remember my experience because I saw Professor in 2005 on this training seminar that was organized by Gabriela, and I remember it very well, this beautiful place. And for me, the first impression that I've received from communicating with Professor, it was about the fact that the person was very light in his communications, very very awakened. And I would also like to underline his special sense of humor that he had. And to be honest, I do not know what phenomena that is when such different things are being united in one person. This lightness that you can feel in his field, this availability, this honesty, and at the same time, such a profoundness, such matureness, such wiseness. And this is about this big value that you might be holding at the same time while remaining in contact with the others, noticing everything around you and being in such a deep contact with your own self. For this contact that had such ground base, such resource to be transmitting it and sharing it with the others. And for me, I do not know. I think the main thing that I managed to take for myself, it was this state when I am hereby through very irrational instruments. I remember that when Professor was coming to Ukraine, it was in the year 2007, and then already it was the atmosphere where he was the guest, and we were those who knew more about what was happening around. And he had so much trust, support for those who were organizing all of it, that, to be honest, for me, the most important thing was that state that I was feeling while being around him, that feeling of being sure, this lightness, possibility to communicate and support.
I also wanted to add something. Can I?
То ми просто могли мовчати, да, і раціональними способами засвоїти його енергію, да, той дух, який я відчувала поруч з собою.
Where it was absolutely possible for me to feel his spirit nearby me. And it's such a pleasurable thing that in the same atmosphere we're here together. And I would like to invite my colleagues who also remember and who were lucky to communicate and to be in this healing space of Professor to say more words and share the impressions, please.
So I wanted to tell about one feeling.
Yes, of course.
It was 2002. And there was training for trainers in Vienna. And in this time, there also has been a European Congress on Psychotherapy. That's why Peseschkians just took care of organizing the event in Vienna to give us possibility also to visit this Congress. And one of the colleagues from Bolivia couldn't come because her daughter died. And if I remember, her daughter died in England. So this colleague from Bolivia couldn't be at the funeral. And she organized in this city other parents who also lost their children but couldn't be during the funeral of their children. And they organized and they made a kind of monument for people who also lost their children in other countries. And Nossrat told this story. And we came into a circle, took hands of each other, and tried to support our colleague in our thoughts. I stayed near Peseschkian and I felt his hand, and I was surprised that his hand was warm, big, strong, and kind. And this moment was very special for me. I felt unity. It was a great moment of unity in this situation. And the second that I remembered is that during the break, he started to do an interval training. And there was one of the sportsmen from Ukraine also. He was a karate sportsman, but everything was tired, and he also was tired, but Nossrat Peseschkian, he tried to do exercise again and again, and it seemed that he was tireless. Maybe my colleagues remember this.
Hamid?
Чудово. Я бачу, що Хамід.
I can see that Hamid is willing to add something. Please.
Allowed to share, which I think is especially important nowadays with the world situation and the political situation we have in Europe and in many countries of the world, is to remember that Nossrat Peseschkian himself was a migrant. He migrated from Iran to Germany. Well, it was by his own decision. On the other hand, you had to do that because if you wanted to get a good education, you had to leave Iran. You did not stay at that time. So it's a half voluntary, half not. But I think that's maybe also for us an encouragement, you know, and I think his situation was more difficult than of any of us at the beginning. I mean, he came with, I asked him several times, he said he came with 2 suitcases and 1 small carpet under his arm. I mean, no financial assistance. Of course, you know, no internet, no this, you cannot travel and come and telephone. It was not possible. So, what I think we can learn is, one, never to complain. You know, we know this from psychotherapy, this complaining, you know, how bad the world is and the life and the government and this, and in the past everything was good, you know, these kind of things, which takes totally the energy away of someone. Yeah. So I think that was one thing, not to complain. And the second is to stay focused, to have a goal, because I mean, his goal was first, okay, I will get my education, and then he continued. And if we come back to that, what we discussed now for 1 hour, so if you love human beings, it's not important in which country you meet them. They can be in Germany, in Russia, in Ukraine, in America, in Papua New Guinea, in Maldives, in San Francisco. It doesn't play a role. So therefore, it's not a theoretical discussion. Am I open for other people? If I'm open, okay, wonderful, yeah, and we will find a way to communicate. So I think that's also because especially now, many of us or many of you now have to leave their country and go to another place, and so, which is not easy. But I think if you stay focused and you are open to other people, you can adjust to everywhere. If you are not, then of course, then it's you have a very hard life. And the last thing is maybe now just imagine if he would have sit down in Germany and only complained, and I don't know, new country, new culture, and this and that, then nothing would have come out of that then, yeah? Maybe no studies, no positive psychotherapy, and. So I think this is something which is very encouraging then. And today, of course, with all the technical developments, we have other possibilities, but to really try to live this positive conception of man. So if we have this, and really it's not easy to develop that, but when you are open to people from other cultures, it's easily, yeah. Then it's much easier in a country to go than if you are only thinking how is the language and so on and so on. Then, and those of you who met him remember that, I mean, his English was not very good, and he learned English, I don't know exactly when, but I think he was older than 45. We were still going to school, and I know he had sometimes a private teacher who came to him home, and then they spoke, he learned some English. My mother spoke English very well, and she had learned it in school, my father not. So he had started with 45 to learn English. But again, if you have the positive conception of human beings, then you want to communicate with other people, so you learn the language. Maybe not the perfect language, but it's okay for traveling and so on then. So I think it comes a lot back really to our attitude towards life and so on then, because this can give you motivation. If you start to complain, the food is not good, the weather is not good, my mother cooks better, and all these kind of things, my friends are not here, then you are paralyzed and nothing comes out of that then. So I think for me, this is a really great example that you just take your things and then you just go on, and then God opens really new doors which you have never imagined in the past before. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
May I add something to Hamid's speech, because this is something I also mentioned a lot to my students, because he was an Iranian Persian. He had to migrate to Germany, where the culture is so different, and it's like a traumatic event maybe, we don't know, but it is not easy to travel to another country, but there is a post-traumatic growth, and positive psychotherapy is this growth. I mean, after this experience, Peseschkian gave us positive psychotherapy because he adapted the life in Germany, and he told everybody in Germany that this method can be very good for psychotherapy. So he established a new life, and his life is the fruit of principle of hope, I think. This is something that I shared a lot with my students, and they liked his life story a lot. They admire it, and it gives a lot of inspiration to them in this world, traveling from one country to another country, and well accepted there. Thank you, Hamid. And I want to add something also. He was always calling, for instance, calling us, I think, after we met, once in 2 or 3 months, he was calling by a mobile, and I still remember his voice. Hello, hello. He was opening like, hello, hello, how are you? How is your mother? And yes, how is your health? How is everything? He kept the contact all the time, person to person, heart to heart relationship. That's why I am so much grateful to him. This was something that I wanted to add also. Thank you.
May I share something regarding the his second name, Peseschkian? I was invited in 2004 in Iran. It was the third Asian Congress of Psychotherapy. And I was invited to have a presentation there. And in the opening ceremony of this conference, it was some governments, some leaders from the municipality and from Iran, from Tehran, and some deans from the universities. Always they are using, you know, the foreigners are using the headphones for the translation. And in the beginning, I couldn't find, and I was trying to understand by their movements, by their body reactions. But what was important for me that I was hearing the word Peseschki, Peseschki. And I was thinking, oh my God, everybody here in this conference knows Nossrat Peseschkian. And I keep this. I don't have encouragement that to ask what does somebody knows, because I was a little bit scared, because I know that he was migrated from Iran to Germany, and because of some difficulties, religion and something, or politically, I don't know exactly, and I was very silent. When I came back, and we had meeting in Wiesbaden, and I was talking with Nossrat Peseschkian and expressing to him that I was in Iran and in Tehran, in Esfahan, and I said that I heard that everybody knows you. And he asked me, how do you know? Because from all during the conference, everybody mentioned your name. He asked me, how they said? I said, Peseschki, which means Peseschkian. He was smiling. And at the time, he told me that Peseschki in Persian means the doctor. And then I said, oh, dear. So they, because the conference was with a lot of presenters, with a lot of doctors. So the speakers were speaking about the doctors. And I was thinking that everybody knows him, about the Peseschkian. This was very, you know, very funny for me that I heard that Peseschki, and I was trying to understand maybe, but I don't know exactly. Maybe Hamid knows. How was this second name came to your family? Is it because of doctors or something?
Well, actually, it's quite easy. You know, in Iran, family names did not exist. I think started, if I'm not mistaken, in 1936. I think 1936, the Shah, the father of the last Shah, introduced family names. So you could choose your family name. And my grandfather, who was a pharmacist, who had a pharmacy, I think he liked very much this medical aspect. So then he looked at this family name, and so it continued then, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Чудово, це теж для мене така.
I believe that for me, this is also a very curious thing that I never knew about where this family name was coming from and how loud it actually is. I would like to join my colleague to remember when Professor Peseschkian was attending Ukraine, and maybe some of you had a personal interaction with him. You might share your experience. I would like to share my impressions. In 2007, Nossrat Peseschkian was participating. He was invited for the Congress of Doctors of Endocrinology. Continuing this hospital topic, it took place in Kiev in our Central Congress Hall of Ukraine. And there were more than 300 participants, medical doctors, endocrinologists, therapists from all around Ukraine, and such a congress is taking place once every 4 years. And Nossrat Peseschkian, he was presenting a lecture, and for our medical community, it was for the first time, and maybe not for the first time, but it was something very new, something very curious that a psychotherapist is presenting a lecture on such a scientific medical congress to the doctors who are endocrinologists, who are working with pathologists, with diabetes, with such serious problems. And I would like to underline that today it was already said, but what really impressed me, this profoundness and kindness to the person. And no matter what the nationality was, what their religion was, what their profession was, and especially while he was presenting his lecture, it was very different from those scientific, very, very intellectual, smart, with a lot of graphs. It was such humanistic. He was telling a tale, a story about how a boy was writing a letter to the diabetes. He was writing that I hate you, that you changed my life, that I want you gone. Diabetes, just leave me alone. And how he was explaining that this is a part of you, and you need to perceive this part of you, respect this part of you, and work, raise all of your capacities in order to live with diabetes well, to be friends with your diabetes. And this attitude, humanistic attitude, not only to people, but even to different parts, states of this person. And it impressed me so much that he, even with his linguistic approach, he changed the atmosphere, the mood of the Congress, those things that were very far from real life, that were very medical, very scientific in his in others' presentations, to something that was touching every single person directly. How to consider, to be able to communicate with your body as a friend of you, with the friends of yours, with the family of yours, to make the dialogue better and the contact better, and to develop and to be happy and healthy. And it gave huge push for endocrinology, for the development of support of people with diabetes in Ukraine, this approach of positive psychotherapy that is utilized nowadays by doctors, by medical doctors, those principles in coaching of health. And for me, it was the beginning of a very different page of my life. And I am extremely grateful to the destiny that I met Nossrat Peseschkian, that I got familiar with him, with the community, with Volodymyr Karikash, with the School of Positive Psychotherapy in Ukraine. So I would like to thank all of you. And we are remembering with a very warm heart and with a lot of gratitude Nossrat Peseschkian and his influence on all of us and on those people who we are helping. Thank you.
Дуже дякую.
Thank you very much. It was such a pleasure to remember this moment, how you have just said, how a new page in the life of every single one of us was opening after meeting Professor Peseschkian. Very well, who else is willing to share? Please let us know. Because amongst us, we have people who truly knew Professor, who have seen Professor, and who have heard about Professor, and who were feeling through their teachers, their colleagues. And it's curious, what have you taken in terms of values, messages from different areas of life for yourself? What do you have as an example, as a model to follow? For example, it seems to us that we're sort of in our area of work, we have met in the area of work, but it's also the area of senses, of fantasies, of thoughts about the future, first of all, because many of you were remembering that this contact, the area of contact of traditions that we have taken with us in the atmosphere of the method and atmosphere of the founder of the method, we still feel them. And the fact that now we are capable of communicating here together, this is a symbol of it. And also about the body, as Elena was just saying, it is really important to perceive your body as the closest friend. What other messages may you underline? I can see Christian. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember when we talked that you said one might also think about the 4 areas of life. I want to talk about some things I observed in the achievement area. For me, it was very nice how he also in the achievement area used the other areas of life. So I remember in quite a few seminars, he was actually sleeping a little. And I found that always quite cute and that he used this like he was one of the first people like publicly doing power napping. And he was very good for this pacing. I remember also one Persian proverb he told in this regard. He said, Shotor au haste miravat, vali shaburus. And I think I don't pronounce it very good, but it means the camel goes slowly, but night and day. And this is something I really observed with him all the time. One time we went together to Chicago for a conference. At that time, I was in my 30s, he was in his 70s. And I remember that right after arrival, he would meet with people, he would give interview and all these kind of things. So he had incredible endurance. I was by that time already jet lagged and wanted to go to the hotel more or less, I'm afraid. So that was very nice. I remember also one time that he, I asked him about his books, and he said, you know, Mr. Henrichs, I could have also written one book, but I prefer to write 20. This for me was like a manifestation of this story of the perfect camel, that one doesn't need to dwell too much with the situation to bring it all in, but rather to go on. One thing many of you know was this crisis with positive psychology. In that time, it really upset him much, you know, and one can understand also, because this is about justice, I would say, you know, but he did it in a very profound way. So he would start to write letters to Seligman, and he would just say, like, for instance, how would you feel if somebody did this and then somebody else did this? So he addressed him very directly. So even he used the contact in this situation. So that for me was always really great to see this holistic approach in everything he did, and particularly in the achievement, how he also went then into contact. He had many of his work colleagues for life. For instance, Professor Batagai from Switzerland. He was a work colleague for life, and this was really also a great capacity to have this this long-term commitment.
Thank you, Christian.
Jana, if you allow, it's okay?
Yes?
Yeah. I had a few months ago, our colleagues in Romania invited me for a presentation. It was about resilience. And then I presented a short thing about resilience in the life of Nossrat Peseschkian. And it was very interesting that all the criteria, which, for example, the American Psychological Association shows on resilience, we can share this later, that how Nossrat Peseschkian tried to put this into practice in his own life, and then also in the method of positive psychotherapy. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, you know, if we look at that, just a second. Yeah, I have here this list from the American Psychological Association. It's like optimism, acceptance, solution orientation, leaving the victim role, shape relationship, take responsibility, and shaping the future. This is what they have, you know, this resilience thing from the American Psychological Association, and everything you find there. And I think this is something what we can really try, maybe to apply in our own life, you know, really starting. But again, some people are gifted by their education or by nature. Most of the people, like normal people like us, we have to learn things. It is not so easy, but this is also a purpose of life. For example, really to learn to be more optimistic then. And I think especially in Eastern Europe, people have a great example really how to see things in a positive way. And so I think this positive psychotherapy is especially really for really Eastern Europe, I think, and therefore it's so successful in Eastern Europe, yeah. But also this really take the responsibility for your own life and never complain. I know I'm repeating myself, but really this thing, what is bad and this is that, but just do what you can do And I think if we do this also, and then we will be very, very successful. I mean, look at Volodymyr Karikash. He was one person, and now you have, I think, 800 colleagues in Ukraine. Really, I mean, he started. So you have to start to do something then, yeah. And the last thing maybe I can say, Diana, is maybe at the next conference, hopefully the situation will be that we can meet live in person again. Then maybe don't sit always at the lunchtime with people from your own country. Remember that everybody is like an interesting human being. So really take your food and go to the table of people from another country and try to establish contact. Really, I've seen this for the last 20 years. Usually at the conferences, everybody sits with the people he knows already. I mean, I understand this, but to be open means you have to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah, speak in another language. Just take you. I mean, could you imagine Nossrat Peseschkian would only sit with the same people every time? No, he would take his plate and go to the next one. Bulgarian table, Romanian table, Chinese table, African table. So maybe we should really put this into practice then, yeah, to the extent we can do that then, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamid. Who else would like to share with us? Microphone.
Diana, are we allowed to send some pictures that we
Sure,
found recently?
Yes. First,
Yeah.
let's hear from Arno,
Okay.
who shared the picture with us.
Ach so, ja. Just a moment. So. So here's a picture of Nossrat Peseschkian in the middle of the 80s. I think it was 85. And he visited with our students my place, and we had been in our garden. These are the colleagues, and you see here this active and energetic Nossrat Peseschkian, always curious, and in a way that he was also curious to wear such clothes of people 500 years before. And this is a little bit of an impression how he was in everyday life.
Please share some other pictures.
So you couldn't see the pictures yet? I'm sorry.
No, we saw them. We saw them.
So yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I said for other participants who would like to share with us other pictures. Tugba? Microphone.
Okay, do you want me to send it via through Messenger, or I can show directly?
You can share the screen.
Okay.
If it's fine.
Okay. I found a picture, I think here. It is 2006 or something like that, in front of academy. How young we were. Still young, I think. Yeah. And I can share a few more pictures I just recently found. Let me find them. This is one from Lithuania, Riga.
Yeah.
Yes, Lithuania, Riga. In 2006, I think. And this is in 2004 and 5 in Ankara at my university, Başkent University. There was a conference, Peseschkian Day. And this is again in Riga, I think, 2006 it was. And this is our my first time in, oh, we don't have Peseschkian here. It is in our beloved Odessa in Ukraine, 2005, I think it was. Okay, these are the things that I want to share. Thank you. Okay.
I have some other pictures sent by Vladimir, Christian, Hamid. I will share the screen and you can talk in the background if it's okay, and also from Enver, okay?
Yeah.
With whom should I start? Do you have a preference or who would like to talk?
I can
Enver? Okay. Okay. Let's see now. Where is the slideshow? Yeah. It's good. Do you see it?
No.
No?
Open the PowerPoint.
It's open.
Diana, you have to open first the PowerPoint and then upload it. That's the problem.
Okay. Sorry.
I also make this mistake always. Yeah, first open it and then upload it. Yeah,
Then share. Okay. Okay, open and now share. Now?
Yes.
Very good. Very
good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Enver, you changed it a little bit.
Yes. Yes, it was in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
You see, how was I a young man at that time, and then how can I change the slides, or it's not?
I can change the slides.
So that's the second.
This is the second slide.
No, this is the first.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, this is my beginning when I met Nossrat Peseschkian in Vienna, 1999. So next slide.
This one is good?
Still is the first.
All right, good.
Can you, Diana? Can
Yes.
you give me permission to be as a co-host, sure. And then I can easier.
Yeah.
So close this.
Why is working like this? Okay, let me stop sharing.
Okay.
And then how can I make you go? So do you have the share screen button on the top of the Zoom?
Yes.
Yeah, you can share now. You can share.
And just try, yeah.
Screen share.
Yes. But open first the presentation.
Okay. So
and then share screen and choose the PowerPoint.
Desktop. Where is my desktop? It's just a moment. I need to. Okay, now I can share my screen, which is I opened. Share. Where is? No, it's okay. You see?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
okay.
going.
Now, and then it was 2000 when I was invited. You see, myself and Hamid, how how young we are. This is a picture, and also the Gabi and Arno. I think Arno is behind of us, yeah, in the back. And then what we have in common, we was invited in Wiesbaden from Nossrat Peseschkian to come for the intensive course for training for trainers, to become the trainer. 3 of us from Kosovo. And this is a picture that I always remembering. This is the way how we develop the positive psychotherapy also in Kosovo. And also this is, I think, the picture from the Vienna when Volodymyr mentioned about the 2002 in Vienna. It was the seminar for trainers. And Hamid, you will recognize yourself.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And then this was the situation that when that always, you cannot never know when he will ask something to do from yourself. I was invited also because I was running my education to become as a trainer, and he invites me to go in Turkey. And first when he asked me, he said, you know Turkish language, and then you can help me to translate it. I said, okay, I will come. And then it was the group in the basic course that Rukia Hayran, our colleague from Istanbul, she was organized. And then Nossrat Peseschkian once came to me and said, now this is your turn and you have to follow the group. And I said, but what can I do? He said, you know everything. But I said, but what can I do with the group? And he was repeating, you know everything. And then I was asking, should I do this and this? And he said, bravo, yes, go ahead, do this. And I was curious to know, is this what he actually needs, or I said by the chance? And always he was saying, bravo, 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 excellent, excellent job you done. And in the end, he prepared a small present. You see here in my hand, he prepared a small present. It was a chocolate. But inside of the chocolate, it was his book. So when I asked him, why chocolate with the book? He said, when you are reading the book, take some chocolates, some sweets, because you will understand better. Very sweety way to understand the book. And this is very important. After we finish this, from the colleagues from Turkey, with traditional music. And for first time, I heard how Nossrat Peseschkian was singing. Of course, he was singing in the Persian language. And the guy who was playing on the, not guitar, but the saz, they are calling saz, he was singing in the Persian. And he invites me, I to follow. But I couldn't understand anything in the Persian language, but some words which are similar. Then I was moving my lips, trying to follow him. And then I recognized that later on that he was, for me, a model as a father. When I lost my father, he called me by phone asking condolences. And then after that, I said that I lost my biological father, but now I have my second non-biological father. Then after I became a trainer, I need to exchange the different cultures. And one of the first my visits was in Ukraine. Some of the colleagues will recognize. And then it was my great pleasure to give a plaque for him in 2006 in Wiesbaden. And this was on behalf of our center when we established this seats in the Kosovo. And when I am trying to see how he was using the balance model, you know, he was really a model, how he was using his body. And every time in each seminars when I was attending with him, always he was doing physical exercises. And this is a picture with one of our students from Albania, but now she is living in London, Mireda Sula. How Professor was dancing. In the achievement area, taking a lot of experiences with the different transcultural backgrounds. And then this is the contacts in contact area. As much you can share your experiences, your knowledges, your friendships, and then trying to become as a family. So always I have a feeling that the Positive Psychotherapy Association is one family. How we are cooperating, how we are dealing, and how we are communicating. And I didn't have any experiences to find in other modalities as it is in positive psychotherapy. This is really a family positive psychotherapy that we are all together here. Yes, this that I.
Thank you. Vladimir, I know you had some pictures also.
Володя, выходишь нам показать?
Да, я сейчас просто включаю экран. То есть...
Yes, sure. Now I will share my screen.
Can you see the photos now?
Do you see the photos?
Yes.
I thought which picture to choose, and I chose the picture that I have not only in my photo album, but which I have on my table. This photo for me is a big remembrance from the year 2000, when there was the second Congress on Positive Psychotherapy. And here there were heads and chairmen of the centers. And what was surprising for me, besides the general atmosphere, that Peseschkian here said there was a discussion. Henrichs has already talked about it, about positive psychology. And he said, maybe we should change the name instead of positive psychotherapy. And I was surprised. And then, like, it was said that there are books written on this topic. So he even could reject the name of the method, but he listened to others. And it was the feelings that we were also his disciples of the method. He shared everything, and he permitted us to develop this method. I remember when in 2010, when Hamid, you had a lecture about the future of positive psychotherapy after the passing away of the founder. And you talked about what is positive psychotherapy. This is a school or a method? And if this is school, the school has to die when there is no founder. When it is a method, it gets developed. And I remembered this photo and capability of Peseschkian to share and to develop what he has created. So for me, it's really very important. And positive psychotherapy, his fruits of his method have possibility to develop. And also there is a feeling about which Enver talked, that there is a role model. I had good relations with my father, but he passed away when I was just 12. And maybe Nossrat Peseschkian is my spiritual father, as a person whom I look up to, the values, lifestyle. And it's very surprising how the method gets realized, gets implemented in his life. How everything that he talks about, he does, is very harmonically connected to him. And I realized that method is the continuation of the personality of the founder. And I'm really very happy that I had possibility and my colleagues had possibility to touch to this and to develop this further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Volodymyr. Hamid, would you like to share some pictures with us?
The ones I sent you, but these are a lot of pictures, but if you want, you can maybe...
one specifically, maybe, let's say...
I thought this is your task, but we can, maybe you can, Diana, just show them quickly. I don't know, some of them, because there are many of them. Or should I show them? Or
I can show them, and if it's not working...
Yeah, but I think not all of them. People get tired, but maybe just a few of them because they are.
You know, I would like to share. I choose 2 specific pictures, if it's okay.
Please. Yeah, of course, everything's okay.
It's for my own curiosity, let's say. Okay, share screen. Everybody can see it?
Yes.
No. This picture. His hobbies. You can see it?
Well, this presentation was, this was prepared for my mother, actually, after my father passed away, I think for, I don't know, either for some of these memorial meetings then. So she got out all the old photos she found somewhere, and here the title in English would be like the Assistenzarzt means the doctor when he's still in training then, yeah. So the resident, you say in English, privately then, yeah. So one was, of course, this nature. Then, of course, I think one of the first cars, they were very proud to have a car. You know, this German Volkswagen was that. And of course, I think the nature then, yeah, I guess somewhere in Germany. And as it was at that time, people always wear suits, you know. It was not like today with jogging and things, you jogging trouser you got out. It was really always in a suit then, yeah. And the next photo is which one, Diana?
This is the one, the family, which is also...
No, I don't know, because you said you have chosen two.
Yeah. This is this one with the family.
But then you have to make it large.
You don't see it?
No.
It's large.
No.
I don't know what's happening.
Choose.
Just click on the picture, Jana.
Well, I see it on
Big,
I see
okay.
it big, not the list.
So it's okay. Yeah. Now we
Yes.
see it then, yeah.
This one.
This one, okay.
So I think the first one on the left side is when they got married and when they met, which is already 1961, so a long time ago then, yeah. And actually, until the end of the life of both of them, we could not clarify one question: who got married to whom? Yeah, this question remains open. My father just said, well, you know, he had finished his studies, he went home just for a short visit. And then he said, well, he just wanted to get acquainted to her. And my mother said he made a proposal. I don't know. So we could never clarify this question, who got married to whom and what it happened exactly. And then they came then early 62. They came back to Germany then. For my mother, the first time, when she was very young, she was 21 years old, you know, also leaving the country, no language, there were no language school, nothing, and so on then, and this or that. But because also she was Baha'i, so from her perspective, this idea, unity of mankind, yeah, all people are really, it's just like one country, the world is like one country. So this also, I think, helped her a lot to get adjusted to the new country without knowledge, without this and everything then. But friends, today you showed a lot picture of the past, and I feel very old, yeah? So you show a lot of picture of the past, and you get to some other things. Okay, very nice.
Thank you. I think slowly we can close the event.
Дозвольте мені поділитися одним маленьким.
Please let me share one little film, one little video where Peseschkian is saying, I don't know if I will manage it, but with the voice of Peseschkian, him saying very important wisdom. You have to start it first and then start sharing. Yes, exactly. First you start it and then you share it. Please share the screen with us. That's important. But we can hear it already. We just do not see it yet. This is the Congress. Elena, we do not see it. No. Just a second, just a second.
Share the screen.
Не получилося.
Ні, не виходить, тому що потрібно
It
спочатку...
did not work. Yeah, because first you have to open it, then you start sharing the screen.
Демонстрація екрану, так? Да,
Yes, first we share a screen, then you press the video itself, if it's open on your computer.
Закрила, да? Значить,
No,
тоді
I
там...
closed it. So then there is also another option. Once again, Katya. So there is such a folder about the like larger options and adjustment, and there is a possibility to share the video. It's complicated. It's a bit complicated. I have one suggestion. Yeah, we heard the voice. At least we heard the voice. Let me turn on the sound once again, and you will be able to hear the sound. We have such a suggestion in general that concerning the video materials and the photo materials that we have been sharing today, that we have touched today, to bring it to a separate archive for all of us to gather it together, and then we will all have access to those materials, as well as we would like to thank all of you, all of those who have been sharing with us today, their memories, their impressions. And we would also like to thank those who were listening, because that's true, that we really need to be transferring those impressions, that energy, that spirit that we have felt that has inspired us. And we have, for all the participants, the following gift for you to feel better the energy of Professor. We will send you a brief video with interval training that is separated in those 5 main exercises, like with our 5 main steps of our model. And we will be able to repeat those exercises just the same way that we adjust ourselves before an important consultation meeting with the client, to have this interval training and to be able to have this connection with the true source of method. We would like to thank all of you for being with us today. And we have such a deep gratitude, and we're feeling this big heart. And Diana, thank you very much for helping in creating this beautiful atmosphere. Thank you. Thank you very much that we have at least this possibility to see one another and to continue the work that Nossrat Peseschkian began. Thank you. Thanks to all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
На все добре. До нових
See
зустрічей.
you and take care. See you during our further meetings. And this year, we're also celebrating 90 years of Professor Peseschkian, so we will see each other on the next important honorable event in the month of June, dedicated to Professor Peseschkian, on the 18th of June.
Тобто далі буде.
So, to be continued.
Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.